about a seat at that table once Labor is back in government, Victoria. And what do you see the benefit for Brunswick of having a seat at the table if that happens?
Thank you for your question, and we've still got a very long way to go before there's a Labor government in Victoria. There's 2 weeks of very hard campaigning, and I think that I'll come to the issue of what it means for Brunswick shortly, but I think, well, the same thing it means for Brunswick is the same thing it means for this community. We're under siege, I think, as a community with this state Liberal government and with the federal Liberal government. So it means investment in education, it means investment in health, it means active government involvement in ensuring that the dignity and the purpose of work is extended to everybody. It means fair conditions at work. It means stopping the East-West link and investing in public transport. It means turning back. One of the first acts this government did when it came in was to wind back the Equal Opportunity Act. It was the first time that's happened in decades, and they did it not once, not twice, but 3 times because one of their ministers was asleep. You know, as a former discrimination lawyer at Slater and Gordon, you know, to witness that, to be in the Parliament on that moment when for the first time of all of those gains that we've made at state and federal level with sex discrimination, racial discrimination and LGBTI discrimination, to have it wound back. You know, this is what it means for a Labor government, and it means to have a voice at the table with a strong, progressive person with a demonstrated commitment both in the last 4 years and in my working life and in my life here with my father up there, having spent my life in this community, to be part of that, to represent those values, to be part of those policy decision making, I think is really, really critical for Brunswick, not just for the local commitments we've made, but to make sure that the values of this community are extended and realised and celebrated by people in every corner of this state.
So I'll just make a very short comment. I think that reading between the lines, there's just a hint of a suggestion that you need to be a member of the ruling party to have a say. I'd like to challenge that. I think that the people of Brunswick should choose the candidate or party who best reflect their values, and that person vote according to those values and opinions in Parliament. We was lucky to see that Adam Bandt was able to have a seat at the table in the Gillard government. We can't promise that that will occur this time, but that's the sort of influence you get if you vote according to your values.
Really quickly, you talked about Brunswick being progressive, but it's right. If you look at the Vote Compass results nationally, we are in the most progressive part of this country. And unfortunately, most of the north of Melbourne is politically irrelevant to the major parties. And so they're pandering consistently to parts of the country that are less progressive. And what we need to do is deal ourselves back into relevance. And Brunswick's had a fair crack at that, and we're getting the benefit of that.
I'd like to say that all the things that big parties say they will do, and the tiny amount that they actually do, can all and will all be done by minor parties as well. I mean, that's what a government does, right? The government does stuff. So you can have all your big parties talking about, we will get this done, but at the end of the day, there's small, passionate people who will form a democracy, a group of political people together making decisions, and that's the beauty of our system, is that we have preferences. So vote one, your key message, and let your preferences filter down so that the people who don't have your values at heart are last.